Wasabi! Hi guys. So, I want to talk to you about the idea of occupying the center line. More specifically, I want to talk to you about the idea that your opponent doesn't really matter. You see, it's not about what your opponent does. There have been several people in the martial arts world that have said that there are simply too many variables when you take into consideration your opponent. And so when you enter in the arena, when you are involved in a conflict in the real world, when you're training, whatever, only consider yourself, because you're the factor that matters to you. Everything else is just a potential obstacle, and it's simply more efficient, more productive if you simply worry about controlling what you can control. And what you can control is you. So you focus on your structure, you focus on your angles, you focus on your center line, your timing, your positioning, all of that. If you can simply control the space that you occupy, then it doesn't matter what your opponent throws at you, because you are controlling the space. It's kind of the idea of your personal space bubble. In my favorite martial arts anime, Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple, they have the Seikuken technique, which is a fantasy martial arts technique. It's not a real thing, but the idea is solid, which is that your sphere of influence is basically at arm's reach, in a sphere around you, and you should be able to control anything within that sphere. Anything that penetrates inside that sphere, you should be able to control, because you are controlling and occupying that space. And then, of course, as the manga wears on, this doesn't happen in the anime, but as the manga wears on, they find that the Seiko can actually get smaller until it gets, within just a hair's breadth from your flesh, and so that you're really dealing with only controlling the space at you. Forgive my dog's crunching, it's dinner time. So that's the idea that I want to get across to you. Stop worrying about what your opponent does and simply consider what is invading your space. And that's really the best way to look at it. You have your sphere of influence, you have your little space bubble, and everything inside that space bubble is under your control. And anything that crosses that border is something that you should be able to deal with, because you are in control. If you're not in control of your own sphere of influence, then how can you be in control of somebody else's? It's the whole idea. So I'm going to cut it off there and keep it short and simple tonight. I just want you to understand that that is something to strive for. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But in Wing Chun we use the idea constantly, especially in Chi Sao. Instead of worrying about what our opponent's doing, we're simply occupying the space, and we're striking when we have the opening. It's no longer about attack and defense, it's simply about my space, and that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. Chew on that for a bit, and good journey.